At this point, if the governor and legislature do not reach an immediate agreement that provides for sufficient cash solutions, I need to issue IOUs to try to prevent the state from ultimately defaulting on our debt obligation, which would be the meltdown of the state's finances.
So isn't it the case that workers and suppliers, local businesses are going to have to suffer in order that you meet your obligations to banks and other lenders from outside the state?
Yes, unfortunately, the private sector vendors, many of the vulnerable population will be put in further harm's way because the governor and the legislature were unable to come to agreement that provided sufficient cash in the state's treasury to pay out essential dollars to help these people pay for their rent, to put food on the table, or to pay for their utility bill.
And is there any sign at the moment of when people might actually get the money that they're owed, or is it all down to when the legislature managed to reach an agreement?
At the end of the day, it's all incumbent upon the governor and the legislature.
So it could be a matter of weeks, of months even?
I'm hoping it's a matter of moments instead of a matter of months.
Didn't California see this coming, though? I mean, for years there have been grapples over the budget and appears to be now reaching ahead. I mean, did nobody see this coming and decide to take a stance earlier?
People saw the weakening economy here in California and the United States and all across the globe. They missed the significance of the degree of the deterioration that was being experienced in both the economy and state revenues.
What's your sort of gut feeling about how this crisis may affect ordinary Californians?
People who are already in harm's way are going to be at a more tenuous point. The most vulnerable populations, the aged, the blind, the disabled, could be severely impacted by the loss of state assistance.
To me, if the debt's owed to the United States government, then it should not be a problem. If it's owed to United States banks, these banks should suffer earlier, or in preference to letting the weak and the disabled of California suffer. If it's a foreign entity, country that owns the debt, then of course there should be a deal, and perhaps California borrowed a lot of money from China, and they have to come to an agreement. If it's a foreign bank that holds the debt, then unless that bank has an army, there's no reason to pay it its debt if it's not possible to do so. I think California should create its own currency and pay the debt in their own currency. By that way they can abolish the dominance of the Federal Reserve. They can instantly repay all their debts that they have, and they can start all over again. This would be the case if they, as they are probably going to do, are going to issue lots of IOUs and barter type denominations. That is basically the same as having a Californian dollar. So why not do it? I believe it's forbidden by law because it has been proven to be a very successful way for poor states, cities, counties to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And California was the fifth biggest economy in the world. If it defaults, it should take some measure that is in its own interest, not in the interest of the bankers.